In Magic Lining, I collaborate with scientists from the areas of human-computer interaction, psychology, and neuroscience. We are working on a prototype that focuses on the possibilities for altering the perception people have of their own body through the garment's inside. We work with e-textiles to integrate sensory feedback close to the body. The work builds on the insights from scientific project Magic Shoes and proposes a garment that allows the user to feel as if their body would be made of a different material. In this intersection of neuroscience research on mental body representation, human-computer interaction, and real-life smart textile applications, the project asks questions about the meaning of clothing. So here you've seen all the partners also involved, and to open up the project a little bit to you, I will actually invite you to go back in time a bit. I'm showing you a picture from my master thesis that I did in the Estonian Academy of Arts, where you see the model wearing a scarf made out of leftover knitted materials that are crocheted into this neck piece that has integrated sensors and actuators in it. Very simple technology, but in principle the scarf understands when the lady is going to lie down and starts a little massage on her neck. So this is something like 10 years ago. But already here, what I was looking into is the connection between sustainability and technology. How can we, by applying new technologies or new opportunities, guide the fashion or the textile industry to go more towards a sustainable direction? And this, I got to take a couple of steps further while conducting my PhD study in Eindhoven University of Technology in the Wearable Senses Lab. And there we developed these samples that you can see on the picture. One of them is Tender. That is a garment that senses when it is being touched and lights up lights inside the pockets accordingly. It's a way to guide and to direct the light go to different parts of the body for various functionalities, for reading or for lighting the space around you. The other garment, Vibing, is a prototype of vibration therapy for well-being. It also enhances the touch and guides the vibration on the body. But what always kind of remained as a question for me while working on these projects was, how can I really know what it means to people, and how can I prove it? And this is where we found the project.
I'm Frédéric Bevilacqua. I'm a researcher here at IRCAM, and I'm collaborating on this project called Magic Shoes. Ana Tajadura Jimenez in Spain is leading this project. And we are interested to understand how the perception change when you modify the sensory, like the auditory feedback, or maybe the touch feedback. And for example, when you look at this image, we all had this experience when we walk, depending of your shoes, depending of the ground, and depending of the sound you're going to make when you walk, you will have a different perception. You will feel the environment differently, but you might actually feel your body differently. The sound feedback, the tactile feedback is going to change your body representation. And that's the type of study Anna is actually doing research in neuroscience in that. And then we develop prototypes further to see how can we now design sensory output to modify the perception. So in this prototype, you see we have sensor on the shoes. We can sense, get data on the motion, on the way you walk, and then we can transform that in sound. So when you walk, you have sound, we can actually design, and we can design in a way it might be pleasant or maybe unpleasant, but we are actually looking at positive feedback and to see how we can alter the perception and body perception in a positive way, targeting application of people that might be inactive or not active enough because of altered body perception. So as you see, the prototype, it might look a bit clumsy, and we really want to design a whole experience, and for that, working with designer and artists is very, very important, because that allows us to develop a much better prototype, to think on a much larger scale about the use, and also the appropriation and acceptability of such prototype. That's why we were very happy to work with Kristi on her different ideas.
And as you could just hear from Fred, things always don't go as you expect as well, because you see this project on shoes, but then I come in and I say, why don't we actually work with the garment? Why don't we bring it to the whole body? And I wanted to build on this notion of fashion in general and how it always has altered people's perception. For example, wearing heels or having shoulder pads or wearing corsets or even uniforms that always either really shaped the body or they shaped the way that the society works and how people feel excluded or included in it. So as you've seen from the video, the project is about altering people's self-perception through the inside of the garment. This is where we want to work with the material itself, the fabric that is touching the body from inside, not how it looks like, but how it feels like. And the questions that we posed, they ask things like, what if we could feel like a cloud? What if I could feel like a block of concrete or a pile of rocks? Or what if my garment makes me feel like a flowing stream of water? Now, working in this multidisciplinary team, we've developed a prototype. We are somewhere midway. In principle, at the moment, so it allows us to have different vibration pattern movements in it. It is various textile surfaces. So, for example, there is a felt, but then there is also a very fluffy material. And we've tested how does it change the way that we perceive this feeling from the material if we have a different pattern, but also if we change the surface material of it. So, for example, we have patterns that are going away from us or coming towards us, and they are expanding or becoming smaller. So these are the questions that we're dealing with. At this moment, we have reached this prototype, and we are asking questions from people to also understand from a wider perspective how people feel it and how can we then conclude something that it actually works. And as I said, now we are somewhere in the middle of the project, but despite of that, we've presented it in different various international events, talks, and at the same time we have a paper that will come out in a couple of weeks in MOCO Movement Conference. And about the next steps.
Yeah, so what was very interesting is that Kristi actually not only work on our prototype, but she really proposed a new way to use this active haptic feedback. And now it's really bringing a new vision of our project. And now the next phase is actually to integrate the different sound feedback we developed, auditory feedback, with the haptic feedback all together to really create a multimodal experience. So that's going to be the next phase, or somehow integration these two aspects of the project. Thank you.
Thank you.